We have two orders of business tonight. The first is the any public comments that may be wanting to be said about the budget process, which we will do first. Then we will open the Swain County Board of Commissioners regular meeting after that. I will also make the announcement that we have a stand-in for Gunner. If he doesn't break his leg, he just leaves town. So we have a stand-in now, and we welcome Sergeant Eric Watson from the United States Marine Corps, who will do our Pledge of Allegiance for us when we get to that point. Having said that, do we have any public comments? Danny, would you mind going out and just checking and see if anybody signed up? What did you do, go home? Thank you. There is no one who has signed up to make a public comment during this period of time. So what we will do is just simply move on with the meeting. But what I need from the commissioners right now is a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to adjourn the public meeting.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor to adjourn the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to adjourn the public hearing meeting. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And it's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Would everybody stand, please?
Let's pray.
The reason for that.
We have a guy here for public comment.
Oh, we have a guy here for public comment. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't speak last time. I just thought.
Yeah.
There's a request to move up on the agenda the public comment number 4, Anybody have an objection or a question about that? If not, then I will accept a motion to move that item up on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to move public comment up, number 4.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to remove public comments, item number 4, up to below 3, I guess, 2, the adjustment of the agenda. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to move public comments up above 3 on the agenda. Any questions, any comments? None, hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, passed unanimously. All righty. Then we will now call on, thank you. Rob Loeffman? Rob is okay if I call you Rob while you make your...
Yeah.
Okay, step up to the mic, would you please?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Roger, for your help so far. My name is Rob Loeffman. I live out on Toot Hollow Road and have a business here, have a daughter who went to school here 2 months ago tomorrow, recently married. This is our home. We're excited. We are pursuing building another home, selling our home, building a home out off of Gelbeth Creek, and we've run into some issues that we want to share with you. I think some of you, maybe all of you know, but I want to make sure you do know to see if there's anything that can help for resolution. We are buying raw land, and we have to have a septic, so we applied for a permit for a septic and the well, and was told it would be 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, because of the understaff, and there were a lot of permits, and I know it's a blessing to our county, the real estate that's going on right now. And I would call every couple weeks to check, and they said, no, not yet. And it was approximately 2.5 weeks ago, someone from Environmental Health had told me, you're slated for the 1st of June or the 2nd week of June, and we'll be good to go. You know, we have finances that are tied up into this that could be in jeopardy if it doesn't happen. And last week, I had called to find out what was going on, and they said, I got a message saying, nothing's scheduled, not at all. And I had called back and asked, well, could you tell me where we fall in line here so we can just maybe try to see if we can get things delayed or due diligence delayed so we don't lose out on some funds? We can't tell you that. And so I finally was able to talk to the director, Allison, and she said that they've had to do a lot of other things and they're seriously behind, understaffed, different things like that. But from what I understand, the understaffing there has been a very long period of time. And I know in Jackson County, I have a friend who works there. It's 2 to 3 week turnaround when they're busy like this right now. We're in week 11. They said they don't even know if they'll get to us within a month or two. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And I'd just like to be able to have some data that says most likely 3 weeks out, instead of we're not going to tell you. And I asked why. They said, well, people get angry if we tell them that you're so far out, and we can't promise that. But I was promised things, and we put money down. So it's been very frustrating. I feel like we were promised something, by the county employees, and we're not getting it. It's going to delay a lot of different things on our end, hopefully not end up. So I wanted to see what can be done. Roger and Kevin have been brought up to speed. Earlier on, Kevin also, Kevin King, was a little bit brought up to speed, but not recently. But what can be done? besides us just sitting on our hands from here on and hoping this works out.
Well, we've been in contact, and I've contacted Mr. Siegel. He contacted you. I've talked to Kevin, so maybe I'll turn it over to let him know some of the explanations. We are short-staffed. It seems like we're in a very busy schedule. Where you are on the list, I'm not sure.
Would it be
Have too
fair
much
for us
to
to
add.
know where we are on the list? That's my question.
Personally, I don't know why not. I mean, why can't he
I
learn?
guess knowing the expectations, I know they have a lot of revisits and re-inspections that they have to do through the process. And basically, they just work down the list. And I know that they have said that you're coming up, 'cause I did call about it.
Thank you.
And then also had Allison reach out to you too, so.
Yeah, everybody's been pleasant to work with. I can tell that they're frustrated because they want to do a right job too. You know, so there's frustration all around. And I'm concerned that, you know, sort of like a slingshot, there's going to be a bigger effect in the next few weeks or until you hire somebody, because real estate's not slowing down. And it could be much worse if something soon is not able to be done. Yeah.
We do have a contract worker coming in the first part of July and possibly another one. So we should have a full-time position, hopefully, starting July 1st. But I know that doesn't
That's
help your
good.
situation out with your closing.
Well, our closing's July 8th.
So
It has been pushed back a little bit, so if we can get, that would be a blessing.
we have, I have asked Brent to look into it and also Allison, so they're gonna get to you just as quick as they possibly
you.
can without, without going against other people, at the same time, so.
Thank you.
So.
Great, thank you. I appreciate what you guys do for our county. Thank you, Chairman, for what you do very much and letting me be able to speak. So, very much so.
Well, thank you for coming in and speaking to us, and I know personally that we are limited staff. We're having problems putting on additional staff in some situations, so I understand that they can get backed up fairly easily and fairly quickly. But the manager and I will continue to follow this and make sure you're dealt with in a proper way.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Have a
Thank
good
you
evening.
for coming in. Thank you. Okay, we're up to or down to administrative reports and the budget amendment. Is that separate from the other two reports?
Let's see, you have
Budget amendment number 8, okay, gotcha.
And
Tax collector's report.
Yeah. And Peggy's not here tonight, so I'll read it. Total receivable of $5,774,673.90. Year-to-date total ad valorem collected $5,555,040.41. Total collected year-to-date is $6,745,839.19. Total ad valorem budgeted to receive $5,774,673. Percent of budget tax collected year-to-date is 96.20%. Vehicles for the month, $36,175.08. Total year-to-date, $384,022.59. Also collected in the tax office, $115.54 in motor vehicle taxes. Waste fee for the month, $7,004.87. Collected year-to-date, $757,006.38.
You've heard the report. Do you have any questions? If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to accept this report as given.
Make a motion to accept tax collector's report, or Mr. King's report for the tax collector.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept this report as given from Mr. King for the tax office. Any other questions or comments? If there are none, and you agree, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimously. Okay, budget amendment number 8.
The first on the budget amendment is under courts, $2,000. We've done a lot of different stuff over there with the COVID this year, moving out chairs, doing different things to do some of that restoration, and some of it came out of the court's budget, so it popped them over $2,000 on contracted services. The next one is the jail water heater, which I think I called each one of you
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago about that. I did get that fixed, all was good. $35,000 for that water heater.
We got the water heater and it's been installed? Or
Correct, it has been installed,
Okay.
yes. Then I'm doing some, moving around some budgets from emergency management to emergency communications. So you'll see a deduction in emergency management and an increase in emergency communications. And at the next meeting, we're gonna have a special meeting for a end of the year budget amendments. You'll see a lot more of that shuffling around for the end of the year. EMS $150,000. This is for the additional staff we've had on since the beginning of COVID. We've had 2 additional staff folks that we're using COVID funds for, and we did not budget. We thought that we would have enough in overtime to cover some of that, but not. So that's $150,000. Coroner this year has gone up a lot, and I don't know what is attributing to that. I don't know if there's more investigations or if it's just families wanting autopsies, that sort of thing. Also, the price of autopsies have increased from, they used to be $1,000 and now they're $1,750. And that's all done by the state of North Carolina. So, have had a lot of those this year. So that's gone up to $30,000. The Cooperative Extension Service, this is family support, family preservation, increase in salary for a grant that we've got, $20,000 for that. And then you'll see the different revenue sources. One is FSFP, of course, COVID funding, and then appropriated fund balance for the water heater and the coroner services. So a total of $272,000 for the general fund budget amendment. Number 8.
You're increasing the coroner
Yes.
without knowing the causes for that to increase. My question is this enough in this line item?
Currently, it's at $26,000. So we're hopeful that we're not going to have 2 more between now and the end of the month yet. So
Who is our coroner? Who does this?
we have several different ones that are, and I'm not sure what they're called. I don't think they're called coroners. I think they're just the ones that sign the death permit, the death certificate. But I know we have several that they pay, and that's $200 just to do a death certificate. And then we have to send the body off for an autopsy to different locations, and that's governed by the state medical examiner's office. But we don't have a designated coroner. This is the person. There's several.
That's what I was wondering, if it's the hospital. Or didn't know.
There's doctors. Actually, we have a couple paramedics, our own paramedics. The tribe has paramedics. We also pay, this is also paying for the tribal members on the county port, the Swain County portion of the reservation as well. So this money is paying for those folks as well.
I didn't know if we had a designated person or a team. Some places it's an elected position, so I didn't know.
Some of them are in, I think, other states. I'm not sure. I don't think North Carolina's that way. We've never done that.
Okay, so we got basically 2.5 weeks to finish out the month, and I guess back to my original question, do you anticipate any more? And if we do, how do we adjust the budget in the coming year?
I'll have an adjustment at the end of the month
Okay,
on the final budget amendment. So we'll look at it then.
okay.
How does that, how do they bill, or how's that, how do you have an account for what's being done as a coroner?
So they won't give us names,
Yeah.
but they give us, that a certain provider did a death certificate, and we pay that provider individually $200. And then on the autopsy, we send it straight to the state medical examiner, and that's the $1,750, and that's going straight to the medical examiner.
But there's no, accountability in that, how's it,
Just done by what they have on
just what's
in the
billed
sheet
into
as
the
far as,
county?
as far as
Just
where
take
the,
it that
where the
they-
body was a resident, where the person was a resident, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, it's just interesting how there's no, it doesn't go through any department of any sort,
Right,
so it's just billed direct from the coroner,
correct,
whoever does it. Okay.
correct.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, where does it go? Is there like a 1099 that goes with it? Or- That's what I'm trying to figure.
We normally don't do 1099 on the corner, since it is it's a bill that's coming from really the state and kind of telling us where to give the money to, so we normally don't.
I just want,
Maybe should, I don't know.
I'm just thinking.
It'd give you a good trail, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion that we accept the budget amendment number 8 as given to us by the manager.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to accept this report from the manager, the budget amendment. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All of those in favor of accepting this budget amendment number 8, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimously. Okay, moving on down to number 5. First item, item A, is the May the 13th regular session and May the 27th, the work session. You have the minutes in front of you. You've had them. Any questions on the minutes as you have them in front of you? Hearing none. And assuming that we can still do all in one rather than break them apart, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as given to you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we accept minutes for May 13th and May 27th.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes from the 13th and the 27th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And we have a second. So I have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the minutes as given, with no other questions, no other comments. If you approve it, raise your right hand, please. And we have a unanimous passage. Mr. Manager, I'm going to let you to introduce the 21-22 budget. We've been through so many of these that everybody should have them.
So at the last meeting in May, I brought before you a balanced budget, 2021-2022 budget, for a total of $19,488,575.60 in the general fund. Also included in that is debt service of $1,075,000, E911 contribution from the state of $300,000, solid waste revenues and expenses of $1,194,202. Human Services Program, including all the DSS functions and the health functions at $8,340,000. And that is just the administrative sections of both those departments. Oh, okay. This one? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The Family Support Family Preservation Program, $150,000. Public Safety Capital Reserve, $130,000, and this is coming from the general fund. School Capital Reserve of $905,000, and the Redevelopment District, which is a loan program, of $50,000. Inside that budget, we've kind of discussed it before. It does have step plan. It does have a animal services budget for next year. It does have a court project, and we added 8 personnel, including 1 position for environmental health, 1 for soil erosion, excuse me, 2 dispatchers, 2 EMS paramedics. I'm trying to think right off my head. I don't have those listed either, sorry. Anyway, all the personnel we've talked about before, 8 of them. So, and with your consideration that this is the proposal that was put in place for the budget for this year, and went through the due diligence of the 10-day notice to the public, where it has been on public display for the last 10 days, and now it's on your agenda to either approve or disapprove. So.
Okay, having heard that, do you have any other questions about the budget? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the budget as given by the manager and presented to you in breakouts, which also allowed for community comment, public comment, which there was none. Hearing no questions and or objections in that regard, I'll entertain a motion to accept the budget as has been presented to us.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to accept the budget as given to us.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the budget as has been presented. All of those in favor, please raise your right hand. All of those opposed, please raise your right hand. We have a 4-to-1 decision on that. But it is passed. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the fee schedules. And this is something we've been back and forth on, so.
So included in certain parts of the budget, including the sanitation department, we looked at increasing fees, and that's the first fee schedule you have. It'd be $150 for category number 9, which is residential, $115. Category number 2, which is overnight rentals, to $350. These are, say, hotels, I believe. No, I'm sorry, this is just businesses. Category number 2 is businesses. Number 3 is restaurants, $550. Motel, hotel, $400 plus $30 per unit or room. Overnight rentals, with the exception of hotel and motel, is $250. Industrial purchases is just going to be charged as needed and as by the ton. If they have an exemption, it's going to be $46 versus the $115. That was category number 7. Number 8 is a campground, $400 plus $25 per site. Number 9 is bed and breakfast, which is $500 plus $30 per room or unit. Number 10, all approved property being used for more than a combination of any of the above shall be assessed to each use type as set forth in category 1 through 7. Special waste fee is going to $80 per ton, and electronics are still at $5 per item.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. King, did we ever find anything else out about the food truck stuff, and if,
So we did look into it. A lot of people, most counties do not charge for food trucks. And so I can't find any fees associated with that. The 2 or 3, there's actually one that's in town, that is considered a food, food, I'm gonna say shack, but it's not a shack, it's food, it's more permanent. They've got it up on blocks, and it's considered something else because they have all their dry storage and everything on site. So that's not considered a food truck. And normally they have to go back to their home domicile to be able to clean their trucks daily. And that's the ones you see on the street that's parked. But there are certain ones that I think we've talked about that are more permanent on Isla Street specifically. So I think, my recommendation is we still investigate it, and we can always look at it and try to get something in place in the coming months. But as of right now, I didn't find any language that we could use.
well, I'd like for you to look for more stuff, especially about the seating, because that's the ones that seem like they're taking advantage of it have a whole lot of seating, and the ones who are not don't have the seating. Like, there's one in town I know that's fixed a big seating area. It's basically, to me, it's sort of like being a restaurant, and I don't know how we deal with that, but if you could look some more into that.
Okay.
For sure. I know we talked about it several times, and last time we didn't know what to do, and we still don't know exactly what to do, but it just seems like I don't understand. If restaurants are having to pay so much, and businesses using food trucks as restaurants should have to pay something more than just a regular business. If you'll look into that more for me.
We'll do it.
Can we adjust this again later on, or?
You can. You can adjust it monthly if you wanted to.
Is the number 12, electronic devices, is that starting to cover the electronic device that we have to pay? Is it starting to cover the payment we have to make?
Yes,
It is.
it is.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on it. Is our disposal fee still like $3 or something like that for the TVs, and what our share is our share going up, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
It's not gonna, we're breaking even on it. The $5 per item is about break even.
Okay.
And the volume has gone down. It's not as it was before, because there was I think in 1 month we collected like 1,000 televisions. And over that whole year, it was roughly about 11,000 is what we received. And that's why we put it in place to begin with. We were it's being used, I think, as a dumping ground for old TVs. But I think it's definitely dwindled a lot down, and it does pay for itself. The county's not paying anything for it.
Commissioner? Any other questions?
No, I think along with 12 is paying for itself, that's what we're trying to do with every other one of these too, is just try to get to that point where we're not losing money out there, so.
Correct. And I will say it, I think I'd repeated this last year and probably the year before. Almost every year we get cited on from the local government commission, because this is considered an enterprise fund, similar to a sewer and water fund, and it's supposed to be break even based on the fees that y'all put in place. And so hopefully with this, that you're voting on tonight, it will make us, in, I guess, the good graces of the LGC at this point. So it should be break even.
Mr. King, is that gonna be enough to maintain it?
You know, you never know. The price of everything is going up, it seems like. And so I'm hopeful that what I've recommended is gonna make it whole, but, you know, we're just now catching up. This is the first time we've actually looked at it. We're actually putting a fee since 1998. This is the first increase we've had on, especially the residential, since 1998. So I think with volume, we've got about 10,000 tons going out probably this year. So it continually going to increase. Now we're hopeful that with the building going on, the land transfers and things like that, that we're going to be able to capture a lot of that money, plus with the some funds to pay for that. But also we've got the new software from that the TDA purchased, that hopefully we're going to capture a lot of the overnight rentals that we're also going to have increase in those as well. So between all of it, I think deficiencies in our collection system, and also the amount of extra homes that's coming into play, I think that we're going to definitely see an increase, and hopefully it'll be enough to cover the additional costs. Because, like I say, I can't, nobody can really tell what the future is going to hold, but at this point, this is definitely going to make the fund solvent going forward.
I've got one more question. On the recyclables and stuff, are we making any money? Are we losing money? We ended up paying, because I talked to Scotty a week or so back, and he talked like lots of our recyclable bin. Maybe we need a bigger sign or something, that we were getting way too much trash in it, and we weren't getting to, it was going more for landfill than it was recyclables. And I don't know if there's anything we can do to help with that or not.
We're going to look at some of those procedures that they have in place out there. So a lot of that is just going to be monitoring, you know, and I know y'all have had discussions. I think the last time he was in here, he was talking about having people certified as waste screeners and that sort of thing. Well, if they're waste screeners, why is it going into recycling? Why is the trash going in there if they're screening the material? So those are the things that we definitely need to address as far as going into the single stream. Now, I do know the single stream, it's very complicated. It's not as easy as just saying, here's a plastic bottle. It's a different type of plastic bottle that goes into the recycling. So even though you may be thinking you're doing good, they may not take it. And so then we get dinged on it. If there's some bad trash or whatever in that thing, that we don't get paid anything. And what we do right now, I think it's like 2 cents a pound. It's not like nothing compared to what we did in the past. So as far as I would say we pay to get rid of recycling, not as much as the $80 a ton it takes to get rid of garbage, but we're basically eliminating waste stream. And by state statute and state regulations, we're supposed to be about between 10 and 18% elimination of waste stream. So we have to have a recycling program. Even though it's still costing us money, it's not costing us as much money. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you have the fee schedule in front of you for 21-22. Hearing no other questions, I will entertain a motion that we accept it as given.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the floor that we accept the fee schedule for 21-22 as given. I need a second?
Second, sure.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Clarification.
So is this all of them?
Do you wanna do, is it just, so all I've done is sanitation thus far. You wanna just do sanitation, or you want me to go ahead back and read all of them?
Well, we want them all.
Okay, let me go ahead and read all of them, and then Danny can redo his motion if you'd like.
Okay, okay.
So, just a few more of them here. Emergency medical services, and you've had those for, the basic life support, non-emergency, 557.46, and then it kind of goes all the way down to specialized care at $1,811.74. Mileage rate of 23.10.
Mr. Manager, let me back up for a second,
Okay.
please. And let me ask the commissioners how they would prefer it.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me, do you want him just to go through them all and then make a motion on all of them, or do you want to go through them individually?
We can do them all.
Okay. We've got a suggestion on the floor to do them all.
Yes.
And looks like we got, everybody's agreeing to that. So go ahead, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. And then we have building code enforcement, has not been done in several years as well. All of those are going up, just a little bit to cover the cost of the inspections department. For a 1,000 square foot house, it's $500, 2,000, it's 1,000, and 3,000 is 1,500. And then you have the different, segments, electrical, just trip charges going up to $80 per trip, and most of the rest of them. The land disturbance fee is 100, and that is going with the soil erosion inspector. Environmental health fees, going up a little on each segment there as well to kind of get back with what other counties are charging. And then you have environmental health on site, also just adjusting those fees to what other counties are looking at. For 2-bedroom, it's $450, 3-bedroom is $550, 4-bedroom is $650, and a 5-bedroom and above is $750 plus $100 per bedroom over 5. Well is going to $375. Let's back on this section. And then the final one is animal services, and these were just, these are a little bit higher than the other counties around us, but it is a new program. $10 for the first offense, $30 for the second, $60 for the third. I'm sorry, daily boarding is $10. Impound first offense is $30, second $60, third is $90. Livestock impound fee is $60 with a daily livestock of $12. And we can adjust those as we get with the program, we get the program going. And that's it.
Okay, do you have any questions on any of those?
I have a question on the land disturbance fee. Can you tell me what that is?
This is the initial assessment, so when we put the new inspector in, he or she will be the first point of contact by the ordinance. And no inspections can be done without that inspector either going out or looking at the site, and that's what that $100 does. So before any other inspections are done, that person has to go out and look at the site to make sure that there's no land disturbing going on.
So before I get anything done, I have to pay $100.
Great, unless you're not gonna, if you're just gonna do a well with no land disturbing, then you just have to call call the department and say, yeah, I'm needing a well, I'm gonna put in a septic, but I'm not gonna disturb any property. So.
You can't put in a septic without disturbing property.
No, I mean, that'll be on a separate permit though. But the biggest thing is just to try to make sure they start the land disturbing process at the very first of their either the building project or renovation project or whatever they're doing. And it just I think it'll be a lot cleaner. That's the way most counties do it. They have an inspector of the land disturbance, and then no other permit can be issued before it has to go to that department first.
So any land disturbing I do on my property, where I have to get a permit, I'm gonna have to do this.
Correct.
I don't agree with that, but that's my opinion. With on this medical, the increases on this medical went from like the non-emergency. Can you go through this again with me a little bit? I know we've had it and I've looked at it.
Yeah.
But it seems like a pretty high increase on some of this stuff, and I don't know exactly how it works.
The justification.
Yes.
Okay, so, and this is not from me. I didn't come up with these numbers. This is from, we have EMS management consultants who is our third-party biller, and they bill all of our services. And so they're the ones that kind of indicate that this should be our fee schedule. If you want to collect this much money and you're billing Medicaid or Medicare or private insurance companies, this is how much you have to bill. So that's really what those numbers are for. Because you're not going to get $557.46. You may only get 80% of that. And then we work with the people, we work with the private people after that. Sometimes we don't collect it, sometimes we do. So we try to maximize how much we get from insurance and from Medicaid. So that's really what those fees are. So like a BLS is basic life support, and that's the first one. And then you have emergency and non-emergency. And then you have advanced life supports, which is ALS, non-emergency. And then the different levels of ALS, whether they have to do like morphine or the types of medication that they have to apply when they're in an ambulance. And then you have the specialized care, which could be, I don't know what that classifies, but it's a different level of service. So all of these are just different levels of service that they actually provide to the patient en route to the hospital. But this is what other counties are charging.
Other counties are charging, and we're charging so much to try to collect as much as we can.
Yeah, because, to do this, we do about 2,200, 2,300 calls a year. And between the mix of it, that's where the biggest chunk comes from for the ambulance service. But we only collect around $1 million. But our ambulance service is about 1.6 million. So the county's picking up 600,000 of it. Mm-hmm. And so we want to make sure we maximize as much as possible coming from private insurance companies, Medicaid and Medicare, and then to offset some of the cost of it, because it is rather expensive. I mean, it has doubled over the years. It's gone from, I remember when we were only putting in like 200,000 in county money, and now we're almost at 6. So it's definitely increasing. But it's also the level of care. We've got multiple trucks, going 24/7, where before we had one truck running 12 hours a day and one person sitting at the bay at nighttime. And that's what the transition in the last 25 years, that's what it's been.
And my last question on the animal service fees, the daily boarding's just for, is that where we impound an animal and then they pay? What is the livestock board? I didn't think we'd be impounding any farm animals. I thought they were all covered by state law and had nothing to do with the ordinance that we passed.
They're not, sometimes we get cruelty to animals. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of it, where we have to go take them. And then we have to, whoever wants them back at some point, they would get a charge fee. I don't know if that would ever happen or not, but most ordinances in most counties have livestock fees. They have livestock impound fees and daily fees.
So we're gonna build a facility to have impound for farm animals also, correct?
A lot of time, most of the time, actually, they work with different farmers in the community to help house those on a temporary basis, and hopeful that's what we can do.
Okay.
as well.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
So the animal service fees, they're pretty much, we looked at other animal service fees in other counties, and then that's pretty much what they do as well, or we're a little higher.
Correct. If, I don't know, a couple months ago, when I gave out the fee schedule, they had different counties on all of these. They had all the counties, surrounding counties, that their fees, and it was very comparable. Ours is a little bit more, not much more, but with a new program, you know, you have to have that startup, and then next year, hopefully, we can come back and trim it off a little bit.
Also, I think that we've had, and maybe the sheriff can help me, I don't know, but did we not have some animals on the loose that we had to round up and place somewhere before we even had a program?
Oh, yeah.
So this is not anything new, it's just putting into a format so that we can help, and it also, in my mind, is helping local citizens who can house them for a little while. They collect some of the fees as well.
Right.
So. Okay, do we have any other questions? Hearing none. I will entertain a motion to adopt the fees as have been explained to us. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll change that original motion to cover all the fee schedules with one
Okay.
vote.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to accept the fee schedules as was presented tonight. Do I have a second, please?
I'll keep my second.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor, accepting all of these fee schedules. Any other questions? Hearing none, those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, that's passed 4-1, one abstaining.
Did he abstain or oppose?
I opposed. I didn't oppose all of them, but it's in the form of we voted for all of them.
Right. Yeah. Okay, the fire contract with the town of Carson City.
So this contract has been presented, this is about the same format we have every single year, and it's for the Tuckasegee Fire District, which is the unincorporated section of the Tuckasegee outside the Bryson city limit. And this year it's $40,000, the same it has been for quite a while. We did try to look at doing a 3-year contract, but I think they just want to stick with the yearly. So this is just the same yearly contract we've had for many, many years now. So
I make a motion to accept this agreement.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to accept the agreement with the town of, and we've got a second. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions? Hearing none, all of those in favor of accepting this agreement, raise your right hand. Passed unanimously. Moving on down. County manager?
okay. First off, I think I sent y'all an email the other day about the pool project. It has been, it's moving along, so hopefully by the first part of July, we'll have it operational. And we did go ahead and pick up a couple lifeguards, so we've got them with the day camp until we get them into the pool. So we're trying to make transitions before we have enough staff to actually open when we have it all done. So I think that's gonna happen as well. It's looking pretty good. I invite y'all to go up there and see what's happening. They're getting ready to install the liner, but the concrete is definitely done and looking good. I've not been up there in a couple of days because I've been out of town, but I'm going to go up there hopefully tomorrow.
You sent us the picture from
Yeah.
being up there.
Yeah, when they were pouring, it's kind of interesting. So
Right.
big crew up there working. The other day, I guess it was last week, we had, and I'm trying to think of her name. It was the economic developer for the Speaker of the House's office. First name is Beverly. I can't remember her last name. I apologize. Anyway, she did a presentation about a possible collaboration between the state of North Carolina's Speaker's office and Swain County, and doing a few counties in the west and I think a few counties in the east, working with possible Airbnb to do a program that would help the local residents if they would like to rent their houses out to tourists. Then this program would actually educate them on that, how to get that done and what guests are looking for when they come into the area. So this is a pilot program. That's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect was looking at tradesmen or tradespeople that we were deficient in our community and actually incentivizing them to move to Swain County to work in our community. Both Roger and Kenneth were here, and they can add to that. But what was asked of me was just to state those two things that they wanted to accomplish, and then ask if we would want to participate in the program. The town, I think, is supposed to, if they've not already, wants to send a letter in support of asking for that program to come in, and they wanted to have the county go along with them on that request. And so that's kind of...
From whom is coming the request for a letter? From the town or from the Speaker's
town?
office?
Basically, the Speaker's office just basically said, if you want us to come in, please call us. Let us know your intentions. The town is the ones that want us to have a letter together asking this program to come in. So multi-thing here. We could make a phone call and say, yes, we want it. Or we could just write a letter with the town and both of us sign it. But I know it's not on the agenda.
No, that's fine. That's
so-
fine. I wanted to bring it up anyway.
Okay.
Because I have a grave concern. If we're inviting people to move in, where are we going to put it? We keep saying Swain County is 85% federal, 15%, and we've got a bunch of people now. Where are we going to mark off certain areas to do this, or how are we going to address this?
And I don't know that answer.
Okay, that's fine.
And, we were kind of, and I'm not speaking for y'all, but I was kind of shocked, maybe is a good word. I don't, the second part anyway, about the tradesmen coming in, I can understand if a local person has a house and they don't know how to do the Airbnb thing or whatever, that program I don't think is any problem, because that's actually helping people in the community that want to do something.
Right.
But bringing people in, that's a whole different
Can I
concept.
speak on some of that? Because Roger and I did attend, and which Mr. King did too. But one aspect, I thought the entrepreneurship, partnership thing, I thought they were just talking about that they were partnering with the tribe on that stuff. I didn't necessarily understand that they were opening that up to us. I thought that was mainly because she was going to Cherokee. That's why she came here, for that entrepreneurship thing. I thought I didn't understand that part. The pilot part, from what I understood, and I may be wrong, I thought it was mainly which other communities had issues with housing. We're actually less than 15%, aren't we? We're more like 13, maybe less than that. I'm not for sure of the numbers. Can you check on that number for us and
It's closer to 12, actually.
get us updated, because I believe we're still shrinking. But that was one concern. She came because she said our population was decreasing. And she said that they had the data to prove it. And it might be if everybody who's moving here is keeping residency somewhere else, it might be. As other people are moving away to work or whatnot, or leaving here, it might be in that aspect. I'm not for sure. She said she would send the numbers though, because I did ask her about that specifically. The rest of it, as I understood, was more marketing to get. She said because our numbers was decreasing, they wanted us to be part of this program, pilot program, to bring people in, tradespeople of all sorts, workers from other places, to do the work here that we're apparently missing out on. And I have a big issue with all this. I know I called you and talked to you about it, because I'd rather us somehow figure out how we can get people to work and stay here.
But would we not have to choose people who don't need the internet? I mean, we don't even have that available.
Well, that was part of what she talked about too, though, that was where the Airbnb really talked about this entrepreneurship partnership thing, was they were giving out grants based on catering to get people here. So catering to them, they were willing to give grants maybe for broadband. They talked about that. And I told her that we were all for expanding broadband in the sense that our children's education and stuff relies on it now, more so than ever, especially through COVID. We learned that even more. But with online classes or anything, that I was interested in expanding it for that reason. I had no intentions of fighting to expand it to bring more people here. But that's me.
Right. No,
That's what
that makes sense.
I told her, in fact, that we needed to not try to cater to more tourists, that was one problem we had, that lots of county people felt like we were catering to them, and that's how I felt this program was. But I do not see the need. We don't have the housing. The other counties didn't. That's what she said. One other county told them they didn't have the housing. And to me, all that helps cause more housing issues. It causes us to have less affordable housing. Now, we're already in this pickle because we don't have affordable housing, because we're all about tourism and real estate. And I told her, yeah, in some counties it might be better. I don't necessarily see that we need that stuff, but I mean, I wish we'd all been there to listen, and maybe you might, I don't know if we can meet again, or if you can talk to them and they can explain it to you better. That was my take. How did you take it, Mr. Parsons?
Mr. Chairman, along with all the challenges we have that Kenneth talks about, and we all agree with it, the tourism brings extra challenges. At the same time, I understand that tourism is our economic engine, and I think that that's what I've always said all along. I mean, we have those challenges, we have those growing pains, but it's also our economic engine. And I think maybe it's an opportunity for us to get on board with this, but there again, I think it would have to be, the other three of you, I think, would probably have to get more information on it before you maybe can make a decision. Mr. Clampett Representative Clampett was there as well. I think, I don't remember if we said that or not, but maybe you did.
He's the one that actually set
Yeah,
this
he
up
has
with the
set it up.
Speaker's office, so he was endorsing it. I guess would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
He is strongly endorsing it. And, I did get did you get the information? I did get the email, or I did get the charts from her and looked it up. It's so like
I didn't get it.
a 2%
From
or
her.
0.2% or something.
I've not seen it.
Did she email it to you?
Yeah, and I left my phone, so I don't have.
She
an
hadn't
email
emailed, as of last night, she hadn't emailed me the information. I'd asked her about, since she's supposed to send us the population information for sure. I mean, I told her my issues with it. I told her that I felt like, I mean, it's more marketing. It's actually, they're paying people to move here was one way that she said it, paying people vouchers to move here. I don't agree with any, I don't see that we need any more marketing. I believe we have plenty with the casino, Cherokee, all of Cherokee, the park, everything that we have. I believe we have plenty of marketing. The outdoor center, I don't see that we need that. I told her I wished we would focus more on getting the kids interested in the trades that we all felt like we were losing. That's a hard thing to do also, but I think everybody needs to look and make their own decisions about it for sure.
But it appears to me, excuse me, just let me interrupt for just a second. It appears to me that if we're looking at trying to get our kids into various trades and skills, if we're going to start importing people, we either need to drop one of them, because, if you are creating jobs for kids from here that we help go through their training, and we're importing these people, we're competing against ourselves, or it appears to me anyway. And I don't want to spend more time than is necessary on this. The 12, you said we're closer to 12% than 15%? It's easier for people to understand 15 versus 12. That's why I continue to use that figure from many, many, many years ago. But I think if we're pushing 12, and you have some way to figure out what is doing that, I would be very interested, and I think the rest of the commissioners as well, about what that's looking like, and are we reaching the stopping point, or we're not reaching the stopping point?
I don't have the answer to that. I think that.
No. That's why I said if you would look into it and see if we
Yep.
can get an answer to
Okay.
that.
The other part, and I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about Senate Bill 323.
Just what we know about it, let
Okay.
everybody know what's going on.
All right, so Senate Bill 323 passed out of the House Committee yesterday on the 9th and was favorable. And so it'll be probably calendared for the first of the week, but this is the
It's
bill.
favorable for what?
It's just favorable, I'm meaning this is joint municipal power agencies and investments, and this is the settlement funding for the county. And I can read it specifically here if you want me to. So basically changing 147-69.6, which is Swain County Settlement Fund, and adding the treasurer may invest the assets of the fund in any of the investment authorized under subsections B1 through B6 and subsections B8 of the General Statute 147-69.2. So that basically just included us
Right.
into the remainder of the investment possibilities, is what that's done. And so Representative Clampett actually added that in his committee and the House subcommittee to Senate Bill 323, which it was not a part of it a few days ago, and he added that language to that along with.
On the House side.
On the House side,
Yeah.
because it was a Senate bill, but it had already passed over to the House. They added that language, and now it's going to the House floor, probably next week. And after that, they'll go back for concurrence between the House and Senate, and then probably vote on it back in the Senate, concurring with the House, and then it'll be on to the governors for signature.
And that means we have the extra vehicle for investment.
That means you have the extra vehicle for investment. So I did reach out to, in fact, the meeting I was in Raleigh in today, I did reach out to the investment person that I discussed this with before. So he's aware that the bill is hopefully going to pass. So he's already looking at the different funding that we can do, because it'll be immediate. So if y'all want to look into that, I'm gonna get a report from him, and then y'all can take that up in a meeting and see what we want to do with it. So.
Good. Been a long time coming too, so.
Yeah. The other item that we've been working on with the state is the additional occupancy taxes, which that's not going anywhere at this point. There's some dialogue between Representative Clampett, the TDA locally, us, and the town to see if we can come up with the MOU and also work with his office, Representative Clampett's office, on a couple projects that he possibly can get funded at the state, and we can have some matching money through the 2% that he would authorize. So if we can get just a statement saying we're interested in exploring that, and if you can get money from the state for these specific projects that he will lay out, but we will use, or the TDA will use the 2%. So it's going to take us to say that, and also the TDA, and also the town. So, and I'll get more information as we kind of go through this, but I think if he gets that language from all of us, then he'll be supportive of the 2%.
Okay, and if you would draft for us with the big if, like life, big if in the middle of it. We need to know what we're looking at, and we need to make sure that the other people understand what we're looking for, because a lot of times if we get an agreement, even if we don't sign it, some people hold us to it, or can't hold us to it. So we need to be careful with that.
Yep, definitely.
So,
Okay. That's all I have for tonight, I believe.
how was your drive up?
It was long. I left at 1 o'clock from Raleigh, so it's straight.
Oh, my God. Okay, good. All right. You want to give us a report real quick?
I don't have a lot, other than what's been talked about. We did, Kenneth and I attended that with the Speaker Moore's office, and I think the representative from the Airbnb, I forgot her name as well.
Beth.
She wanted to set up, I think she was wanting to set up and talked about the Airbnb Academy. Is that the part of
Yes,
the project that we teaches people how to do it, outreach even more, and talks about even other countries and people coming in? I think she had even mentioned that Raleigh, maybe South Korea, was one of the largest visitors to the Raleigh area. That just seemed, I wouldn't have guessed that, it just seems, and so it's that type of thing. And the only other thing I had in, I really didn't get to participate much in this, I had a core meeting. I guess that's the first time we've had it since before COVID pandemic. And that was on the phone, and I had trouble getting on the phone, and so then I spoke with Melissa quite a bit after the meeting was over, and so
I can speak at that.
you can speak to it a little bit, because you were in that too, but that's, that's where we're trying to pull up. I think Danny attended some of those meetings when we first started going, and over there to the Methodist Church Fellowship Hall. It's like getting all the resources together so that somebody go to one place and click on the different parts of it, and find whatever the resource is they're looking for. So it's not just county, it's private, it's church, it's everything all over where they can find it. So that's the core meeting, but I'll let Ken speak to that more, and that's my report,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
You're saying core, C-O-R-E?
C-O-R-E, and it's like connection, those things always mess you up, right? Connection,
Yeah.
opportunity, resources for everyone. We'll say something like that.
And CORE is kind of the umbrella. So a couple years ago, we talked about developing the website where all nonprofits could be a part of it, where you have a continuum of services. So you have all the providers listed on one side, what they offer on the top, and you can visually see in a graph what we're missing or what the community needs. And that's what CORE was supposed to be for. And so we have a board, and Roger's on the board because he's on the DSS section. We have a couple, I'm on there, Melissa, Sheila, the health, Allison, I think a couple more. Just to get this thing started, we're trying to get it where at some point we'd talked about having some sort of funding, like from the settlement funding possibly, putting a piece in there. We're trying to get all the background stuff done. So like all of if we do have a grant program, we're going to have the grant documents, you know, how do you choose what nonprofit gets what, that sort of thing. So we're trying to put all that together before we come to y'all. But this will be a full presentation from that group. This is what we'd like to do. This is the money that we would like to have, because right now y'all already fund nonprofits. You know, you fund SAFE, you fund other human service related nonprofits. And we talked about, you know, I think there was always the nonprofits that come to you and ask for $1,000 or whatever. Having some sort of mechanism where you can go through an evaluation process to make sure that what they're providing is what the community needs. And that's the whole process behind what CORE, what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make sure that what they're doing is what we want to fund or what's needed in the community. And so we're going to be coming to you probably in the next 3 or 4 months to say this is the plan, and hopefully starting some sort of a program January with providing some funding, and that's up to y'all if we do that. But
Family Resource Center has worked into that.
yeah. So Sheila's kind of been working with it since we moved her over as the program person. And so she's been working with Melissa. They've been trying to work on the website, which they've got up and running.
Good.
And so all the nonprofits have really bought into it. This kind of goes along with and it was the community, it was like a community group that DSS was started with. That's what you were referencing, Roger, where all of the nonprofits and agencies in the community met together and kind of just collaborated on what they were providing, where everybody would kind of know and not to duplicate services. And so this kind of takes it one step further to kind of catalog it for one, but then look at other grant opportunities through the county where we're not spending $1 and they're out here getting more money from somewhere else. We know what's happening is basically at the end of it.
I thought when we first started talking about this, it was to have a directory, services provided, so mainly that they weren't overlapping and stuff, but so people could know where to go.
Yeah.
To.
That's the main focus of it. The group wanted to take it one step further to go so for about 25 years, Macon County's been doing the same thing, but they not only, they'll do like we have State of Franklin, who does our transportation. They take that to that group because, you know, at the end of the day, we don't have really, and I'm gonna call it watchdog, but we don't have a group that oversees some of the programs
Yes.
that we really need to look at. Same thing with SAFE or any other program that the county funds that's not a governmental entity, that they're just nonprofits. So this core group would give you reports based on their assessments. They would go out to the programs. They would make sure the $20,000 you're giving to SAFE is actually what it's being used for. And then that way, as commissioners, you would know in the county. Same thing with transportation. So all of that money, and we give, you know, transportation about 60,000. So we might want to just transfer all of that to that group, let them do the assessments, just to make sure everything we're paying for is getting paid for. And then where we're looking at, I think Ben and I had a conversation about adding an element to where we could work with other nonprofits to fill in the gaps where we needed to through a grant program. And at the time, there's no magic number that we put that even said, we're just trying to get all the legwork done beforehand and then come to y'all. And if you want to do it, that's great. And if not, then we have something already on the shelf ready to go when you do, or if you do. So.
I remember the very beginning of this. No one knew what was going on, and I think, Roger, you were the one that said that at a meeting where resources met, they didn't even know what each other were doing, so that was very interesting.
You know, as an outsider, it's hard to say, I don't know if that's the right word, but someone who, this type of thing is not my expertise. And I was, I guess, a little bit surprised. I think Danny and I even had conversations, and I was a little bit surprised that maybe like social services wasn't 100% sure what health department was doing, and health department didn't know exactly what state of Franklin was doing. And, you know, then you take in the other the nonprofits, like, well, what's Restoration House doing? What's Give and Spoon doing? What's, you know, all our different agencies and all the groups that help. I guess I just assumed everybody knew what everybody was doing, but they don't. And so this is a way to coordinate everything and put it in under one umbrella, if you will. And so that's the gist of the way I try to keep it simple, is just trying to put all this under one umbrella and work it out.
Wow, okay. All right. Thank you.
All I had was the meeting with Mr. Moore's, Representative Moore's, what was she,
Economic development.
economic development person. I told them how I felt, and it was good informational session. It was the academy is what they called it, and they, what was it called? The
Airbnb Academy.
Airbnb Academy. It's
the
an
academy, okay.
entrepreneur program. They come in and train you how to rent your place out and all that stuff. They done it in Africa and
Korea, South Korea.
Had they done it in South Korea?
Mm-hmm.
They done it and then they were going to the tribe and setting up I don't know if they were doing it there or just pitching it, but that's where they were going to after us. I mean, it was a good meeting. I did end up telling her we were just 13% private land. I gave her a copy of her budget and showed her how much PILT money we get. She was surprised about that. I told her she could support us in trying to get us more money for that.
The people who were at the meeting, there were two parts. One was the academy, and the other was the moving in of the people. Is it possible to separate those two and look at the academy and not look at the other?
We can definitely make that ask. And the tribe is actually a sponsor to the academy there, because their logo was on.
Yeah,
Right.
they were.
It was on the presentation. So,
Right. Well, the academy creates no problems for me at this point. Paying people to move into Swain County creates a lot of red flags for me. So if you would
We can
ask
make an
that
ask,
and
yeah.
see if we can get that done, that would be good.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
if I may just add, on the other side of that, we have a hard time finding people to fill some of our roles now, so finding inspectors, finding the different things that we need are sometimes difficult. So, us looking outside of our county to find people to fill the job needs inside this county is not a far-fetched idea, because right now we don't have those we don't have people beating the door down to become building inspectors, I don't think, do we, Mr. Siegel?
Well,
And-
but I think that if
Or
you,
environmental health, Mr. Chairman, you know, we don't have people beating down the doors to go out and be work for the health department, environmental health, so, you know, the other side of that is we need to figure out how to get those people into our county so we can employ them and won't run into situations like we have that Mr. Loeffman's having, where we get so far behind because we just don't have people to fill those roles. So I don't want to say that we're just trying to invite everybody in, but we're trying to invite people in that fill those needs that we need, or fill the roles that we need if I can. Thank you.
I would be very interested in learning how long this would take, how many years down the road, because if it's enough years down the road, we can educate our own and bring them back home. That concerns me that we're looking to bring other people into the county, but that's my thing on that. Danny, tell us what's going on in your world.
I didn't have any meetings or anything. We've got a broadband meeting next Tuesday. The library meeting was canceled. We will be having one in July. So that's about all that's going on right now.
Definitely, if you find out about Airbnb, definitely talk to them about their broadband. I told her that I was all interested, that we were all interested in expanding broadband here, not necessarily for the tourists, but that is a key thing that she spent lots of time on that, where people would, apparently they recommend if people go places to work, like you go to the mountains, sort of a vacation, but she's talking about working while you're here type thing. Like
Staycation.
That's
Some-
happening.
that's what
Staycation.
she's talking about.
I've done some of that.
That's
It's
what-
already happening. I've got people in one of my Airbnbs right now that are here for like a month and a half, but they came here to work.
And that's where they want to help expand broadband for those people, because they can't recommend them to come here if broadband stinks.
Yeah.
If we don't have good internet
Airbnb
service.
without broadband, without Wi-Fi is not gonna go far anyway, not in this technology age.
And I told her that I wasn't as concerned about those people as I was our kids at school and all the issues we have with the main reasoning for me to fight for broadband, the only reasoning for me to fight for broadband was that reason.
That was it?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll just spin off on that Airbnb thing for a second, because I think, I didn't hear the lady's presentation, but I did talk to Kevin a little bit about it. I'm not talking to you guys about it, but the Airbnb thing is not a bad thing, because actually I've been doing that. I've been helping people get Airbnb set up since I knew how to do it. Just helping them get going, because it's monies out there that they can kind of catch. It's like, this last week we helped an older couple get 2 Airbnbs going. And they're making money off these Airbnbs. They would never had this. So I don't think it's a bad thing to help people get that going, because if they can really train and equip people to do that, there may be houses that are setting that somebody that's on a fixed income could make a couple extra $1,000 a month or something like that. I think that's a good deal. She's talking about the Wi-Fi and all that, broadband, it's essential on Airbnbs. And like I said, there are transit people that are coming here that are working, they're having these staycations, because in the last few months, I've rented to 2 different ones that came in here that wanted just to come and do their work from here. And actually, they worked at different jobs in Silva they were at, and in Silva doing some, and Franklin, they were working hospital stuff. So that is happening. We're seeing that more often. Other than that, I went to a meeting in Graham County. It was it's called a Rescue Coalition. They're getting citizens kind of up and off and trying to fight the drug crisis and trying to help get that under control. And so I went because I felt, hey, we're all in the same boat, because it's not just Graham County, it's regional. And so I went to the first meeting they had. It was really, really well. Sheriff Curtis was there also. I went back and helped him actually do a benefit, this last weekend, which was pretty cool. And so I really wanted to go just because I wanted to get some ideas of what they were doing, because again, we have the same problem. What can we do? And it's pretty cool to see what they're trying to do. Just trying to rally the county up to not necessarily just fight drugs, but help people get off of them. Help these people that's in addiction not die, you know. And it's a good cause. I think it was a real good meeting, I thought. And I want to also say, Sheriff Curtis Cochran, you guys, we appreciate the bust you guys done on the traffic stops this last week. Can you elaborate on that any? Because it was a pretty good deal. I thought it was.
You're talking about our checkpoint?
Yes.
We had multi-agency checkpoints last Friday with Cherokee PD, the Highway Patrol, Bryce City PD, Graham County, and Jackson County all came together. We had over 60 officers show up, and we set up 3 different locations. And throughout those locations, we had 89 different citations, 3 arrests for wanted persons, and we got 144 grams of meth out of one car, plus other drugs. And you know, it's worthwhile doing it. Have to keep our community safe. And everybody work together. Everybody have a good time. You know, if y'all would like to come out and join us and see what we do on one of those, we'll be glad to have you.
Great, good, thank you.
So they talked about in the meeting, talked a lot of, I think they said Kevin Corbin was there, the DA, I can't remember her name, Ashley, and there was another guy that I didn't remember his name at all. He was there at that meeting. But they talked a lot on the mental health side also about having more regional help on the mental health side. You know, it's not just about citizens being mad, people's on drugs. It was more kind of what do we do? How do we figure this out? So it was a really informative meeting.
Good, good. Ashley Welch, were you speaking?
Yes, that's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and this is what I told you I would turn it over to you, Kevin, the letter from Darnell Farm. I think everybody has that. You sent it out.
Yeah, I think that's been, when did that letter from Darnell Farm, that's been,
Back in February is when we sent a letter to them.
yeah, you done that, right? Or did we do that? Or, yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I think you,
Did we do that?
I thought we did. I'll look back and see and make sure.
A letter of support for the conservation easement of Darnell Farms.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty
We
sure
did
we
that.
did that.
Okay.
I'll look and see.
yeah, I think, after you asked me about that earlier, I was sitting there thinking, I think Kevin already may have done that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did that already, but I'll look and see and make sure it
Would
got
you,
sent out.
and if we did, would you send us out a copy of the letter that was
Yeah.
sent in response to this? Appreciate it. Okay, the other thing was the Swain County Emergency Operations Plan, June 2021. It has to be approved by the board. I know you're aware of it. Is it coming to us soon?
Yes, David Breedlove's kind of been spearheading that over the past, this has been an ongoing process for about 3 years now. So I think it's all been done. We did hire a consultant to do that. So it's pretty much done now.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's basically just, the emergency operations plan is just an updated plan on circumstances that happened, how they were gonna respond to each different circumstance. That's
right,
basically
right.
the gist of it.
Well, I just noted that the board had to pass it,
Oh, okay.
and I'm wondering where it was, since it was June. Also, you and I talked about this, Kevin, but All of us received a copy of the letter from the State and Local Government Finance Division and the Local Government Commission
Correct.
about our audit being late. And that has been dealt with and taken care of as well.
And I mean, I guess for the general public, so this year was a little bit difficult from our audit firm, for our audit firm. They had a few people because of COVID, that did not participate in their process, so they were kind of behind on their staffing. Did reach out to them and gonna be addressing this issue with them. They are licensed by the state of North Carolina to conduct audits for county governments. We are one of 3 counties that they audit each year. Us, Graham, and Cherokee County are all audited by the same firm. So, and they are approved by the Local Government Commission to conduct audits. So it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't anything in error that the county did to prolong the audit process. Our staff was very forthcoming with any information needed for the audit, and that is basically the only thing noted in the audit report this year for the first time in a while. Normally it's been sanitation or another item, but I guess they kind of picked on that. But it's not really a deficiency in our books or nothing like that. This is more on the audit firm side. So we'll address that with them and have a write letter back to Ms. McCullen, who is the director there. So.
Right. Well, and again, as you do, and I will request it, just keep us informed as to what the letters say back and forth.
Okay.
So,
But according to this letter that said we've been late in the previous 3 years, are we late every year with that, or what's the deal with
We're
our
not-
audit company behind every year?
We're not late. When it says every year there's an extension process that we go through, but the LGC signs off on it.
I was just said that they received ours late in the previous 3 years.
When we had Eric Bowman as our auditor, we were the first ones in the state every year to put in their audit. And I guess, yes, if you look at our history, we have been late compared to our history, but we're not the last county to turn in ours.
We're not missing a deadline on it.
No,
Is that, okay.
no, it's been later than usual, I guess is what she's saying there. But, and I can reach out to her as well. But I'll give you all a copy of the letter that I send back to them.
okay, and just keep us informed of that so we know what's going on. I also note that we got an increase in our NCACC fees from Kevin Leonard. So that's just to let everybody know that they're going up on their fees. Also, I got the membership benefits and the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Member Services. If you did not receive any, let me know. I'll make sure that you get on their list, and we'll go from there. Give you more paper. I was wanted to talk again, just briefly, about what we as a board want to do with the law. Now, if we can stay away from the law getting passed for us to get our 2% addition, that would be great. But then we want to go back and look, and I think it was Kenneth's idea, at how the division of the monies are in the legislation. And if it would be worth our while, or if it would be worthwhile to even look at helping them change the language in that so that when you find yourself in a situation in which we find ourselves, that we've got the park and the reservation and the casino and all of that doing stuff for the area. There's other benefits or other needs that we have that if we could get that spread out a little bit more would be helpful. So I'm bringing it up only as a reminder that we had talked about that and that we may want to think about it and look at it once we get our other bill passed in the state legislature. So, okay, and I'm looking at you because you're the one who keeps my mind straight sometimes.
We can, at this point, you know, I've been talking to David Huskins. He's been kind of involved in trying to help us through this process as well. And, you know, it's room tax bills aren't easily passed through the Senate. And I think in the Rules Committee, I think it's Senator Rayburn, and he doesn't like, you know, any room tax bills. So it's going to be an uphill battle just getting what we want in there. And then also, I think Haywood County is trying to get back on that legislation as well. So there's a lot of push right now just to do the 2%. But to ask for anything else right now, it would be almost impossible.
Right, but yeah, and I agree
But for
with
next year.
and I agree with that, and that gives us a little time to get our minds together and how we're going to move forward and who we need as we move forward. All right. Anything else from anyone? Do we have any other business for the?
Said a question, you commented that the grant for the election board had been sent back, is that?
It's sent back, yes.
Sent back to the state treasurer, wherever it came from.
So we got a communication from the Board of Election, to send back the additional money from the CARES Act, which included that salary piece, and so Cali sent the funding back.
Okay. We may want to see that as well, just
Okay.
FYI.
Yep.
Anything else for the good of the order? Sheriff, anything? Okay. Hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh,
One more thing, just on the 24th, so we'll have a special session on the 24th to do a final budget amendment for 2020-21.
Okay,
So it'll be at the same time as we have and also appointments. We need to talk about.
oh,
what y'all
we
wanna
do need to
appointments.
talk about that, yes. I understand that a couple more people were interested in filling out some apps for appointments to a couple of boards. So rather than take it up tonight, let's just wait and, I think we've got enough time to deal with it. So. Anyone have anything in particular?
When can we get a list of the people applying for the boards
We can have it sent out tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Maybe, yeah, see, when I get something, I make a natural assumption everybody got it. And now I can't find it. Yeah, Mr. Manager, when are we gonna get that list?
Be tomorrow, I guess.
Okay, all right,
Are you wanting the people who've applied thus far?
this
Is
far,
that correct? Yes.
right, yeah. I think a couple of people I've talked to had, they were going to try to talk to someone else and see if they could get them to apply, so.
I think on most boards, we take recommendations
Right,
but the main one that we have to really decide on is the TDA board. Is that the main, where we need to know the,
No, I mean, I think the chair of the TDA is gonna
make a recommendation?
make a recommendation, I think. And then we've got 4 seats in that particular one, and I'm not sure how many people have applied thus far. I think 3. or four, Cindy?
I think three or
Three right now.
four, but I think we got a new one in from one of the, at the request of the board chair, to reapply, or to ask for reappointment. Yeah, so,
I have two still.
For the TDA, we had 4
We have 4 slots and two
seats,
people.
and only 2 people applied.
What has been said, and I think on the application, it talks about geographically and looking at different segments of the community. That's, I think, where the chair is coming from. He's
Right.
wanting to do, make sure everybody's included. Like somebody from Nantahala, somebody from representing the fishing industry, the different places and things in the county. He just wants to make sure everybody's voice is heard in every segment. That's
Right.
what I think he indicated to me, so.
Did we have enough for the rest of the committees? No.
I'll make you a list of the ones we received. There's several that, like the rec park board, everybody that's serving on it currently, they want to keep those people. They reached out to them, they want to continue, and I have, you know, like an additional one for that board. So I'll try to make you a list of the ones that are serving, the ones that be reappointed, and then the additional ones that have applied. I'll try to get that to you.
Oh, we've got a list of all the
Yeah.
ones serving. I've got it.
Yeah.
So
So
just
I'll
the,
just make you a copy of the applications that we've received so far.
all right, thank you.
okay. Anything else? We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion on the floor, need a second, please.
Second.
Have a second, motion and a second on the floor to adjourn, all in favor, raise your right hand. Carried unanimously.
Everybody saw the elder abuse awareness walk.
Yes.
Yes.
If you want to go to that.
When does
Great,
that?
good.
Yes.
It's Tuesday,